You can, with the right help, with the right guidance, with the right advice, you can go to a private school at the same cost or lower than a state school. And that's some of the services I'm really looking forward to in terms of our WiddyUP 2.0. We talked a little bit about it. We've given some hints to our audience members, but yeah, our platform is going to be amazing when we launch it.
I'm excited about that. I was just going to offer, I can't wait to circle back to that, get into more depth, more detail. Randy, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Carter. How you doing? How you feeling on a Thursday afternoon?
Well, this week has run by quickly. I can't believe it's Thursday. How about you? How are you feeling?
Yeah, not even Thursday. It's also, I mean, we're midway through the month of September,
Don't
which
say
is
that.
crazy, right?
I know things are flying by. I recognize that when it was this time last year for, as you know, my oldest, Selah, her senior year and getting into the, halfway through the school year, which I know we're not there yet, but we're close.
Yeah. No, you're right. Selah, speaking of Selah, how's she doing at Tulane, right?
Really good. Thanks for asking. She has attended a few football games.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
I mean, that's the whole freshman year experience is going to those games. I'm not sure how much she shared with you after the games and the partying, but I'm sure she's having a great time.
Yeah, well, I'm impressed because Tulane is, they put it on Duke last weekend, and
Oh, okay.
it's fun to have a winning record. And I know that you come from a bit of a powerhouse, different football program, being a Trojan with USC. Tell me about your football experience over at USC.
Yeah, no, actually today I've been trying on some USC gear. There's a game this Saturday, which we're planning to go to. It's the home opener for the Big Ten schedule. So
Yeah.
USC, I think it's USC, UCLA, I think Oregon and Washington, they joined the Big Ten out of the Pac-12. But yeah, we play Michigan State. So it's the Trojans against the Spartans. Peachy's going, I'm going, Logan's going. We're going to meet up with Reed. That's going to be his first game of the season. He was telling me he got too busy. He couldn't go to the first couple of games. He's like, Dad, I can't spend 5 hours out of my Saturday. I need to study. I'm like, okay, well, balance it, right? Just go to a few quarters or go to the tailgate. Speaking of tailgates, that's probably the funnest part of the USC football games is going to the tailgate, meeting some new people, networking, meeting some friends that we haven't seen in a long time, and just a bunch of fun and games on Saturday.
Randy, I quickly on that note, I was speaking with Grace, as you know, my 16-year-old who's a junior. And one of the things that she and I were speaking about a couple nights ago after practice, she said, I don't know where I want to go. I don't know where I want to live in college. And I don't know, therefore, kind of the location she was drilling down on. And then she also, in that same conversation, she was like, I don't know what my thing is. I don't know what I want to pursue. And so it opened up this whole opportunity is oftentimes that windshield time can offer with your kid. Yeah. This whole opportunity to dive into that a little bit and kind of address it from some of the things you've shared in the past related to location. Do you want to be in full seasons? Do you want beach weather? Do you want cold? Do you want big school? A USC that's got this enormous camaraderie around sports, so on and so forth. It was fascinating because it was this as if she was listening in to your and my conversations.
Yeah, no, that's important. I mean, I have a lot of friends and even Logan's classmates where, I ask the parents, oh, what does your son or daughter want to do? And they're like, oh, they don't even know. Right. And they're already a sophomore. And not that they need to know by their sophomore year, but come junior year, you should start kind of narrowing in terms of the things that you like to do. We've talked about this on our show, the interests, values, and skills of a person. Understand what they're good at, what they're not good at, and kind of what they're drawn to. And then also, you mentioned it, the college fit, which is very important in terms of, imagine I know Selah's got the perfect school, right? She's matched up with the perfect school. The last thing you want is for her to call back and say, Mom, Dad, I don't like it here. Right.
Well, and you say that, Randy. I was speaking to Grace in that same conversation, and she shared with me about a friend of Selah's who's having that exact reaction, which is, Mom,
really?
This was a big mistake. And, she's 2,000 miles away. And so now
was
they're
it at Tulane? Did she go to Tulane?
No. This was
okay.
Different school and someone that Selah was friends with in high school. But
okay.
That girl is now saying big mistake. And,
Wow.
I just thought about what you just said, which is, whew, I feel so fortunate that this happens to be the right fit.
Yeah. And the good news is with Grace, at least she's thinking about it now, right? As a junior. So next year around this time, actually exactly around this time, you're going to start applying to colleges. She's going to start applying to colleges, and you have a year to kind of figure it out between now and the time you apply. But what you do want to identify is, like you were talking about, small school, big school, East Coast, West Coast, public school, private school. That's her home away from home for the next 4 years. And it's important that you nail that down.
You should know that we're completely done with private schools. It's all going to be public schools from here on out. And I'm going to need all the help in the world with some financial advice.
Yeah, no, and there's a thing, there's a misconception, but you can go to a private school at the same cost or lower than a state school, depending upon how much money you get, of course, right? And I was talking to a friend of mine last night, and he was just sharing with me how important it is to get those merit-based aid. All the things that the money that you can get because of your academic achievements, your grades, your GPA, your test scores, everything you've done in the classroom. And then if you combine that with some financial aid, and what I mean by financial aid or need-based aid, a lot of families think, oh, I make too much money, I'm not going to get any need-based aid. But there are ways, just like as a tax consultant, right? Do you do your own taxes, or do you have a CPA do it?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I always get help.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. And it's the same thing from a lot of parents don't see this, but it's the same exact thing from a college planning financial standpoint, right? Come October 1st, I know it because I have to fill that out every year for Read. You have to fill in your financial aid forms. And there's a lot of tricky questions on there in terms of how much, what is your net worth, right? And that could be a tricky question. And if you answer it wrong, you're gonna lose out on thousands and thousands of dollars. Some
Yep.
people put in their home equity, which you shouldn't on the FAFSA form, because there's a little, I just saw it the other day, of 10 size font. Do not include your home equity in your FAFSA form. But I know there's some parents that do include that, and it reduces their need-based aid. Point is that you can, with the right help, with the right guidance, with the right advice, you can go to a private school at the same cost or lower than a state school. And that's kind of some of the services I'm really looking forward to in terms of our WiddyUP 2.0. We've talked a little bit about it. We've given some hints to our audience members, but yeah, our platform is going to be amazing when we launch it.
I'm excited about that. I was just going to offer, I can't wait to circle back to that, get into more depth, more detail, much of it being on the platform. We started the conversation with fun, right?
Yeah.
Fun at football games, schools, college, the experience. And I've got to jump directly into some fun you and I had with Asa and Crystal from Fun and Fit Academy last week on our conversation on the
Oh,
wheel.
yeah, that was a lot of fun. What comes to my mind is the hamster rule. I can I can actually still see Asa going in that hamster wheel and running on it. But the image that really comes to my mind, Carter, is you in that wheel and trying to
Nope,
roll.
you're closer geographically. I think I heard you commit to going up there to jump in that wheel. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's right. They're in Upland, California. So yeah, shout out to Asa and Crystal again. Fun and Fit Academy. A lot of fun on our episode last week.
What an awesome team. Appreciated the jumping off that Asa did, taking a leap of faith, if you will, and the entrepreneurship between the two of them, the hustle, and bringing a vision to reality. I love that. If that was the only thing, of course, we got into some real meat of various things, including life skills, the after-school program, the various pathways or programs that they offer, including neurodivergent students, a lot of homeschool students, and I guess the houses and the way that they did gamification for their kids.
Yeah, no, you hit it on the nail there in terms of what they're doing. I mean, as entrepreneurs, it's so difficult to find even a facility for what they're doing, right? I know that because with my basketball coaching, I've been looking for 15 years to find a facility to train basketball players and athletes. And if you don't find the right one, you just can't scale. And it looks like they found a building, and now they're able to kind of turn their dreams into reality. And one of the pillars that they really focus on is the power of play, right? And having fun and teaching not only athleticism and coordination and strength, power and agility, but you mentioned it, life skills, right? So that's my first question to you, looking back on our episode is, could structured games and challenges be just as important for a child's long-term success as test scores and grades? How does that balance? What are your thoughts on that?
Immediately, it's equally important, is my opinion on that. So if I hear the question you're asking, game, fun, challenge, some of the gamification that you and I've spoken about with the likes of Taylor and then
Yeah,
Asa and Crystal. I mean, I can speak personally. I learn better when I'm applying it to a real life thing. And
sure, sure.
if you can gamify it for me, it sticks. It
Yeah, you're
stays.
right.
And
You're right.
I tend not to be, I'm biased, as we all might be. I tend not to do a great job sitting down at a desk in a classroom, being told the lesson, then regurgitating it, but I don't retain it. You have me do it through a game. You have me do it through an actual activity. I own it. It's mine.
No, you're right. You're right. So even with my basketball training program, it's SoCal Hoops Basketball Academy, and we've created call it a little kids program where we're doing something similar to Fun and Fit Academy, where we're teaching them all sports, not just basketball, but volleyball, baseball, soccer, and we're making it fun. That's the key thing is we're making it fun, but also, which we're also doing is teaching things like discipline, commitment, teamwork, the same things that Fun and Fit Academy is emphasizing and trying to teach as well. So, my question to you is, should faith, discipline, and values like bravery, teamwork, discipline be formally taught in schools, or should that remain solely the responsibility of families and programs like Fun and Fit Academy?
Yeah, I think that's a really important question, one that we see a lot played out in across the public, right? This is a conversation that's ongoing. And so I'll provide again what you're asking, which is my opinion. So take that for what it's worth.
Sure, sure.
It's super challenging to implement that in the public school system such that it's, if you will, democratized across all of our kids. Now, that is every day being taught to some degree in public schools, that being discipline or bravery or confidence. I can, as a former teacher, I can absolutely stand by that because I
Okay.
saw
Okay. Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
part of the curriculum that I taught in California. At the same time, we know that if a family's looking for that to be part of the pedagogy, then they're looking to the private independent school approach. On that same note, Randy, I'll offer that it's really, really, really sensitive in a curriculum in a public school to even bring up you use the word faith.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know, I'm guessing what you meant was not necessarily in a public school system should faith be taught, because clearly that is not part of what
Sure.
we stand by in our country. At the same time, the other piece of your question that I heard was, if I'm reading into this question correctly, we lack that in our public school system, that being the bravery, confidence, discipline, look to some of the badges that you might get because you're part of a club or the Boys or Girl Scouts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I think more could be provided? Absolutely. That said, again, there is a trade-off, because when I send my children to school, at the least, or I should say at the very least that they need to be taught are the particular things: reading, writing,
Reading, writing.
arithmetic,
Yep. Yep.
the skills that we know and expect as parents, guardians, when we send our kids to school. Anything
Yeah.
above and beyond that, to some degree, is a benefit because of the teacher's limited time with the kids in the classroom.
No, that's a good point. And in terms of teaching reading, writing, arithmetic, there's the philosophy of kind of what Taylor was saying a couple of episodes back, making that fun, right? And then also gamifying it as well. Because if I look back at my younger son, Logan, he's a sophomore in high school, but I don't know if the school, and again, I don't know if the school should be teaching them that, but how to be disciplined, how to be mentally tough, how to overcome challenges, how to have the growth mindset, right? I don't think they're teaching it intentional. Obviously, from a sports standpoint, you can learn all those things. but they don't bring it out in a sense that, hey, because you're a basketball athlete, you know how to work as a team. I mean, it's kind of inherently taught, right? But I think you're right. There, it needs to be. I would like to see it more intentional, right? Intentional.
Yeah, I guess I would push back a little bit because of the SEL, social emotional learning curriculum that we've seen take such a enormous shift towards ensuring that exists in all schools across the country over the last, call it 10, 15 years. And I see that more and more in middle school for my 12-year-old
Okay.
and in
Okay.
Grace and Selah's high school. So I would push back a little bit and say that as a as a school system, if you will, we're doing a much better job because within SEL comes some of the things that you mentioned, some of those critical characteristics and traits.
Yeah, no, good point. Good point. Along the same lines, there, in terms of call it mental and emotional fitness, or EQ, IQ. What are your thoughts in terms of, are parents doing enough to prioritize their child's mental and emotional fitness, or have we become too focused on academics and athletics alone?
Oh gosh, you're really taking me down a path that's going to get me in a lot of trouble. So again, I'm going to speak about myself as a parent.
Sure, sure, sure.
I've fallen way short of the EQ, IQ. I'm not doing enough as a parent. And that's not to say therefore that I pop to the academic and call it even athletic piece, because I don't know that I'm doing a good job there either, even though I'm trying. But I guess a way to punt the answer is to say, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that Fun and Fit Academy exists, because as a parent with 4 children, a career, all the things that come with all of that stuff, I am falling way short with my 4 children on the EQ, IQ. And therefore,
Yeah.
if I had the opportunity to drop them off and benefit from the likes of Fun and Fit Academy, sign me up. Where do I subscribe?
Yeah, and Crystal gave several examples. So did Asa, in terms of, they talked about the time where a student, an athlete, lost in a game, and they kind of overreacted, and they said, "Okay, time out. Here's what happened. Here's how you need to kind of refocus and change that perspective of what happened, and this is what you can do to do better next time." They were still teaching, you got to be competitive, compete in the exercise that they were doing, but also know that it's okay to not come in first place, and it's okay to lose, but how to get better, right? And yeah, no, that's what they emphasized. That they talked about other stories about being mentally and emotionally fit, right? They have students where they're taking time out and focusing on them individually and saying what's going on, right? Mentally, emotionally. So yeah, I think the Fun and Fit Academy is a tremendous program, not just because of the fun things they do, like running on a hamster wheel, but the underlying, call it, philosophies and teachings that they have within their program. And again, it's intentional, right? Crystal is saying that throughout the entire episode, that they are intentional in their teachings.
And, Randy, I'd say that you've done an effective job at that as a coach. You provide that for your players. And as a parent who has the opportunity to have my kids engage in activities, extracurricular activities, I'm also observing that kids tend to really respond to their peers
Yeah.
and to other adults. Again, I'm not all of a sudden suggesting that I don't take responsibility as their parent. I do work on this with my kids. I just have observed my kids, as if not more responsive to their peers or to other adults. Therefore, I work hard to put them in the company of adults that will have a positive impact on the trajectory of their life.
So when are we going to plan to head out there, Carter? You're going to fly out here and visit the team in Upland, California. When is that date?
It's funny. I have a pin in my pocket. I might deflate that hamster wheel by the time we get there. So
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to try to make it out there within the next 3 to 6 months. It's a little bit far from where I live, but it's hour, 2 hour, hour and a half, 2 hours with no traffic. But yeah, shout out to both Asa and Crystal. They reminded us that really the true strength isn't just measured in wins or muscles, but in character, discipline, and the courage to really be yourself. And Fun and Fit Academy, it isn't just building athletes. They stress that over and over. It's really shaping leaders, preserving innocence, and reminding us that every game, every challenge carries a bigger lesson, right? And maybe the most powerful takeaway from our episode that we had was that greatness isn't loud. Crystal talked about it, right? It isn't flashy, and it's found in confidence, in faith, and really the willingness to step up for others, which they have done, Asa and Crystal together. So, to our listeners, I leave you with this. What legacy are you building for the next generation? Because every choice we make as parents, educators, and mentors really shapes the future leader, the future of our generation. So, this has been the We Are All Awesome show with Carter and myself. Until next time, keep shining, keep believing, and above all, keep being awesome.
Make it count, Randy.
All good. Widdy up.
WiddyUP.